Hi everyone, this is Juliet Gateri from Alternate Doors Consulting, a HR consultant and recruiter based in Kenya. So today we're just going to focus on things you do as an employee that annoy your employer. So the first thing I would first urge you to do is whenever you start a new job or you've already been in the workplace for a while, always look at your contract. Look at your offer letter, look at your contract, just make sure the terms are clear. Look at your targets and key performance indicators, because sometimes when you're given these documents, you really don't go through them. So let's just go through some of the things you do as an employee that might annoy your employer. So the first thing is going against what was in the contract. So for example, you are given 21 leave days, you now start asking for 30 leave days. You are given a salary offer, let's say, of X amount. After 2-3 months, you're asking for X plus 5 or plus 3 amount. So those are the things that really annoy the employer, because the employer has already planned. So some of the companies or employers or business owners, they've already planned for the next 1 or 2 years. So both financially and work balance wise. So the minute you start coming and asking for additional demands, it really rubs them the wrong way. So the other thing is taking excessive leave days. So I'll tie this to coming in late for work. There's nothing that bothers an employer like you taking advantage of their time, because for them, they're counting the hours you're supposed to work for them. I know sometimes this might be a debate, because sometimes you might extend the working hours, but the employer doesn't count that. The employer only counts what time you come in and if you're taking excessive leave days. So for example, the working hours are 8 to 5, but you constantly come in at 8:30. The employer might not react in the first instance, but they are counting. So they're always counting the hours, those 30 minutes. And in 30 minutes, in a whole maybe 5 days or 6, in a 6 work week can be probably maybe 5 hours. Excessive leave days, this includes sick days. So you're constantly asking for leave consecutively. So for example, you took 2 leave days last week, then you ask for additional leave days. So those are the things that really annoy the employer, because it looks like you're taking advantage of them and you're not taking your work seriously. The other thing that might annoy your employer is you carry all the office gossip to them. So you're the one who constantly keeps the managers or the business owner on people's personal business. So it might seem fun at first that you're taking information to the employer. And of course, as an employer, you will take in the information, but your employer generally will not trust you with anything, and it looks quite petty. So there are some things that are really unnecessary, like telling your employer what the other team members did for the weekend. There are some things that are critical. For example, if there's an accident that happened and needs to be reported. So those are the things that you should report, but not on other people's personal leave days. The other thing, what I've seen is, especially with Gen Z, is they want the employers to be their parents. So they are constantly being rebellious. So they are constantly asking for excessive guidance. So it's like a game to them. The employer is not your parent. The employer is there to make money, especially for entrepreneurs. They're there to make money. And the minute you start being a barrier to that process, they start getting annoyed, and eventually they might get rid of you. So for Gen Z, the employer is not your parent. They're not there to clap for you. They're not there to validate you. So just do your work. The other thing is your entitlement. There are a lot of terms that have come up, like quiet quitting, toxic environment. So, a lot of employees sometimes are a bit entitled. And you'll find not all workplaces are 100% perfect. So you'll find a place that's 60% okay, 70% okay. That's okay. If it's excessive and you feel like you cannot take it anymore, probably it's on the 30% okay and 70% toxic. So that's the time you need to leave. But if it's 60-70%, you'll never find a place that is 100% perfect. So whenever there are some demands that you come up with that you come out as being entitled. There's one story I was being told about a company that gives meals to their staff members, and one of their staff members was constantly complaining about how the juice they were being given for free was too sugary. So some of those things would really rub off your employer the wrong way. And finally is blackmail and throwing tantrums. I've seen this a lot, especially for people who are star employees, in instances where they've been in the company for 6 months and they want a salary increase, or they want some sort of benefit. They would blackmail the employer. So they would go to the employer and say, if you don't give me this, I'm going to resign. So that really rubs off the employer the wrong way. They might take in your demands for a while, but they'll be looking for a replacement. So as you are calling out your toxic bosses or toxic employers, it's also good to be self-aware on the things that you do that makes you also toxic or basically annoy your employer. And that's it for today.